So today we will learn about what's called a number line, and so it's a line that has numbers on it. And so you do have a workbook page in your book. It's going to be 56. It'll be a lesson worksheet, which I will explain after I kind of show you what a number line is. So this is an example of a number line. This is how it starts. You just do a straight line. And so one thing you do is you put arrows on the end of your line. And these arrows just kind of tell us that the numbers keep going, that just because we have certain numbers on the line, that doesn't mean that's all the numbers that are there. These arrows mean that the numbers keep going, but we're only focusing on these specific numbers that we put in between the arrows, okay? So I will do my numbers from 0 to 10, and so that's where I'll start. So whenever you want to build your number line, you have your line, and then you do this little thing hanging off like a vertical line, and that's where you start to put your numbers. Okay, so I'll do that with my line. So yeah, you want to make sure that you do a good enough space between the lines, because you don't want to do the line and all your numbers are on one side. So you want to make sure that you fill in your line just enough where it's perfect, okay? All right, so this is my number line from 0 all the way to 10. So whenever we do a number line, sometimes we may have to mark portions of the line. So say if I have the letter A, and letter A will be at point 4. So I want to write the letter A on point 4. So what I do is I go to 4, and then I put a dot, and then guess what I put above it? A. So I'm saying that letter A is at point 4. That's exactly what I did here. Okay? Let's do B. We're going to say B is at 6. Let's do B at point 6. So I find 6, put my dots, and put the letter B above it. This is the same thing you would do in that worksheet. So I have A, I have B. Let's do C. Let's mark C at point 1. So I go to point 1, put my dot, and put C. You see that? D. Let's do 9. Point 9 is where we put D. So we go to 9, put your dot, and then you put D above it. Now I'm going to do something different. So for E, let's do 7 and a half. So how would I find 7 and a half? Because on my number line, I have whole numbers, which are like regular numbers. So where am I going to get this 7 and a half from? Well, if you're counting, when you're halfway between 7 and 8, that's called 7 and a half. So 7 and a half will be right here. So 7 and 1/2. 7 and a half means a 7, and I'm halfway to 8. 7 and a half. So that's where I would mark E on 7 and a half. You kind of see that? So anytime it asks for a half number, it's always going to go. So if it's 6 and a half, you go to 6, and then you go halfway between 6 and 7. Okay? And then let's say F, I want to do 2 and a half. So 2 and a half. So I go to 2, and then I'm going to go halfway between 2 and 3, and I put 2 and a half, and that is where I put F. So this is how you mark a number line, okay? So this is how you identify different points on the number line. So in your book, you have page 55. So you can go to that page right now. Page 56. It's going to say lesson worksheet. So it's usually going to be after your facts page. So you can go to that page, and we'll kind of practice a little bit on that page with the number line, okay? So just make sure you go there. Okay, so in number 1, it says, write the missing numbers below the number line. So you have some numbers that are missing on that first number line. You have 0 and 1 that's done for you. Go ahead and fill in the rest. It should finish at 10. Don't write the numbers too big because you don't want it to be all jumbled together. You know, write it a good size to where it's neat and clean in case you have to do a half. Okay, were you able to do that? It's okay if you're not finishing before I move to the next thing. You can just pause the video in between, okay? So now let's put a point at 7 on the number line. So let's go to point 7. That's where you will put your dots above 7. Then it says write the letter A above that point. So you're at 7, put your dots, and then put the letter A there. Okay, that's what you're doing for your book. Let me erase this since that was my example. Okay, so that's what number 1 said. It said go to point 7, write the letter A above that point. So that's what you should have done. Okay, next it says put a point at 4. So let's go to 4, put a point at 4. And it says write the letter B above it. So if you did it right, this is what your number line on number 1 should look like. It should be from 0 to 10. You should have a B above point 4 and an A above point 7. Okay? Cool? Hope so. All right, let's go to number 2. All right, so number 2. Write the missing number below the line. So now it's like different numbers that are missing, but it's still 0 to 10. You have to fill in the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, and the 9, odd numbers. Okay, so go ahead and do that. All right, so it says put a point at 5 on the number line. So let's put a point at 5, the dot. When it says a point, that's what you put, the dot, 0.5. And it says put a letter C above that one. So we have C here. Okay. Next it says put a point on 9 on the number line. So let's put a point at 9. Write the letter D above that. This is what number 2 should look like. You were supposed to label points 5 and point 9, C above 5, D above 9. Okay? All right, let's go to number 3. Go ahead and write the numbers that are missing again. So it's only certain numbers that you have to fill in that are missing. Write the missing numbers. So it was 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 again. So this time they have the points marked already for you, okay? So you can see above 0, there's a T, above 1 an H, 2 an M, 4 an N, 5 an S, 7 a U, 8 an F, 9 an I, and 10 an A, okay? So that's all marked for you. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna put it here in case maybe for some reason you don't have it or something, okay? Okay, all right, so this is it. So now underneath that, it has where you have to break the code. So it has numbers underneath each of the lines. Okay, this is what it should look like. Like I said, in case you may not have the book, I'm gonna go ahead and, okay? So that's what it looks like. So what you are gonna do is crack the code, okay? So this says something and you have to figure out what it says. What you're gonna do is look at the number, which is 2, and you find 2 on your number line. What letter is above 2? M. So that's what you're gonna put here, M. Okay, let's go to 10. We find 10 on the number line. What's the letter? A. We're cracking the code. Next we have 0. What's the letter above 0? T. And then 1, what's the letter? H. So we know our first word is math. Let's keep going. 9, what's our letter? I. 5, what's the letter? S. 8, what's the letter? F. 7, U. And 4, letter N. So we cracked the code. What does it say? Math is fun. So we just use this number line to, help us know what this phrase wanted to say, which was math is fun. All right, so that is how we write a number line. This is how we do it. And so this was just a practice. You will see it in your book and everything. You will practice with it, but this is what a number line looks like. And if you have to mark points, remember you put the dot above whatever number and whatever letter it's telling you. Or if you have to crack a code, that's how you do it. All right, so that's our math lesson today. You can do workbook. The rest of your workbook page is 56A, your facts page, and your work page.